Hi, and welcome to another edition of the MediaTech Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Jewell. I sort of run the film department here a little bit and teach a lot. And today we've got a very special guest. We're going to be talking with Steven Spielberg on another show. He wasn't available. We're going to be talking to Keith Duncan. So let me introduce Keith Duncan.
Hello.
Hi, Keith.
Hi.
And Keith runs a very cool thing, a very cool entity, a very cool not-for-profit.
The Movie Institute.
The Movie Institute. You can see it on the screen back over here. MediaTech likes to, as much as we can, help out with local everything, filmmakers, local events, things. We've done things for the Dallas Producers Association, Women in Film, but also finding nonprofits that have an amazing mission. And Keith's nonprofit has an amazing mission. So could you tell us a little bit about it and what it is and what it does?
We have a weird thing going in that people think we're an art and leisure nonprofit, but really a youth development one. We use motion pictures and motion media to train life skills in kids, like team building and earned accomplishment and critical thinking skills, but we do it in a fun way. So it's kind of like they get to make a movie, and before they know it, they actually learn something. Oops.
Yeah, so while they're doing something that they think's fun, making a movie, using cameras and audio and lights and just doing something exciting, they're also learning how to run something like you would run a group, like you might have to do if you're a manager at any
job
kind
skills.
of place. Job skills, and how to plan for things, and then how to actually execute their plan, and all these things that you would do in any kind of business.
Sure, yeah. And, most of our kids don't go on in the movie business. I mean, luckily for the rest of us, right? We
Right.
don't have too many people,
Right.
less jobs. But no, they take their skills. And that's why we started out as an art and leisure thing. I mean, we started out as 1 week Kamp Hollywood, so kids could get away from normal people who were like us, movie makers and actors, and have a week with other people like them, which are creatives.
Right.
And it grew from that because we started getting phone calls about 10 years in from people who were out in the business world and saying, hey, I didn't stay in the movie business, but everything you taught me, everything your mentors taught me, I use in my business every day. So we're slow learners, but we went, so we are able to really intervene with all kids. We can focus on the art kids that want to stay in the business, get them in the right schools, get them the right resume and reels. Yeah. But we also help all kids at large. And what a great thing, that two-pronged purpose, right?
Yeah, this is why places like the Dallas Independent School District and School District in Frisco, Coppell, all these school districts are loving it whenever you come in and do stuff.
Yeah, we come in and do after-school programs. We do workshops. We do camps. Do a great camp up in Frisco called Mindbender, which is a STEAM camp, basically. Right. And which is technology and the arts.
Science, technology.
And in movies. What's movie making? It's technology and the arts.
Right.
So we fit perfectly in up there.
Right. That's cool. I know you have a flagship program that you've been doing for 20 years at least, which is called Kamp Hollywood.
Camp Hollywood.
Can you tell me about Kamp Hollywood?
Kids get together and make a short film in a week. And it's a long week. It's full days. And some of them don't know how to do it at all. As you know, you're a mentor there, right?
Yeah.
And so some of them come in, they've never held a camera before except maybe their phone.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I got to put on my trusty little Movie Institute pen.
A little pen. Yeah.
There's no way you can see it from there, but there it is. I'm going to put it on my
little pen.
Yeah, because I have been working with you for a long time.
Oh my gosh, since
maybe 2004? Yeah. And these camps, what I find are fascinating is it's basically sort of a 7 or 8 day camp. And they show up on, sometimes there's a Sunday sort of gathering where people get to know each other. Sometimes you do that. And then all of a sudden on Monday, they hit the ground running. And they've got from a Monday to a Friday, they've got to learn about how to make movies, actually break into teams, write a script, that they come up with for a short film and a commercial.
And a commercial.
And each team does a commercial and a film, and there could be 2 or 3 teams. Or I don't know if you've ever had more than that.
We had 4.
Had 4 at one time. But these are big teams that can be anywhere from 10 people to 20 people. And then during that week, they have to elect who's going to be the director and who's going to be the producer, figure all that out and shoot it. And that's all got to be done by Friday.
Friday at 5:30, it's done.
Right.
Which really becomes 6 because can we have 30 more minutes?
Right. And then the camp's been held in, what I think is cool is that the camp's been held at different production facilities around the Metroplex
all around
for years. So they get all these different experiences that go into real places. MediaTech is sponsored. We've had the camp here many times.
Oh my gosh. How long? I mean, off and on, we've had it here since like 2009, I think.
Just had a director's workshop over the weekend.
We did. It was very successful, by the way. Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But and then on Friday when they finish, a few of the select filmmakers, the director, and will come in and they'll sit with a professional editor. And on that Saturday, which can be a really long Saturday, it could go all night even. They have to finish their movie and their short. Their commercial. Each team has to finish them with their own set of editors. And then you have a giant screening at a movie theater.
Usually the Monday night after the camp,
yeah,
we have a screening at Studio Movie Grill, which is another one of our great sponsors.
Yeah.
And it's a packed house every time. We have to go to their largest house in Dallas-Fort Worth, which is the one in Richardson.
Yeah.
At Spring Valley. Right. And that's, we're packed. That one's packed with
yeah. It's always packed.
It's always packed.
Standing room only kind of.
And these kids are like, some of them are 12 years old, and they're getting to see their short film, which is about 8 minutes long, on a giant 60-foot screen. It's just an amazing thing.
It's like a whole production. It would be in Hollywood, would be a much longer production, even if it was a TV show, or even a commercial. Just microwave down, just shrunk down to this 1 week, and they do amazing stuff.
Amazing stuff.
And some of these are people who've never touched a camera before,
right? And some of 12, and we mix ages,
right?
So 12-year-olds are directing 16-year-olds often. I
want to talk about that for a minute because I used to tell people the camp was 9 to 19, but what is it, 8 to 18? I can't remember.
It's 8 to 17 now.
Okay,
and those are guides. I mean, we have people beg us
for another year
earlier or earlier. Our kids are, because kids are different,
right? But what's fascinating is that you don't segment the movies into ages because it's fascinating to see a 17-year-old mentoring a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Right?
They learn how to mentor.
And this kind of puts you out in the real world. You work on projects of people of all ages. Why not mimic that here?
And if you're making a show like, Family Ties or something, there's different ages on the set.
Right.
So you learn to be appropriate.
Right.
Because you have different ages on the set.
Right. Exactly.
And we run it much like a television set.
Right.
And the older kids get it. And the older kids are interesting because they enjoy taking young kids under their wings and making sure. And the younger kids learn respect.
Yeah.
And there's this whole dynamic we didn't even think about. It's just the way we make movies, on a set. And we thought this whole dynamic is teaching things that maybe they aren't getting. Because, these days kids don't run out and play a lot. We played with kids of somewhat different ages when we were around on our bikes.
Yeah.
And now things are much more segmented.
Yeah.
And this gives kids a chance to be able to work with people who are different ages.
Well,
and,
they play with kids of all ages when they're playing Call of Duty and Left 4 Dead, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's some 40-year-old yelling at a 9-year-old.
Yeah, right.
No, just kidding.
It's true, but it's a little bit different dynamic.
Yeah. Here, at least, there's some mentors and
it's funny because they do make, and the ages don't dictate who gets to be director or writer or whatever.
Right.
The group dictates that because they want to win. It's a competition.
Right.
So they want to win Best Picture. They want to win Best Actor. They want to win these accolades. And so if a kid comes in that, like Matt Morgan did, came in with a reel already at 12 years old.
Right.
And the 16-year-old who didn't have a reel goes, I withdraw my name. I want this guy to run our group because we're going to win with him.
Right.
And it went great.
Right.
And they learn respect for each other. It's not about the age. It's not about your race. It's not about your economic level. It's about making the project the best it can be.
Right. And since you're a not-for-profit, that what's interesting about that is there is a fee to go there, but there's also some allocations for people who maybe couldn't afford the fee.
Sure, we have scholarship funds.
There's some scholarship funds they can look online and see about.
We have the Andrew Sandlin, the Sandlin family of Sandlin Homes.
Yeah.
Andrew Sandlin was one of our students who died way too early.
Right.
And so his family's put a scholarship fund in place.
Yeah.
That scholarships a lot of kids into Kamp Hollywood.
Right.
And we do it on a sliding scale based on your income.
Right.
And because we want everyone to come.
Sure.
But we do have a tuition for those that can pay it, and those that can't quite afford it, then we scholarship some money.
Right.
But the thing is that no one knows who's scholarship and who's not unless the kid says it.
Right, because
we don't have a kid with a big check,
Yeah, it's not about that. And once they're on the set, that. It's all about we're all here together.
And we have the same opportunity to make a great picture.
Right. And like you said earlier, a younger person might just really, when it's time to pitch for directors, they might really just have a reel or have directed things like plays and stuff at their school.
Right.
And they have a real sense about them, and they pitch themselves to the rest of the group. And the group decides, not the adults.
No,
the
they
group
decide.
decides.
Yeah.
And the adults don't even run the gear except for to teach them how.
You teach them how every year. And, we're a little nervous sometimes.
Yeah.
The thousands of dollars that they're playing with.
Right.
But they've always been, I think, in the we did this in 2000, so this will be our 23rd year coming up, right? We've broken one cable, I think.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing because I've seen
That's all we broke.
I've seen them on things like the Fisher 11 dolly, which is a very expensive, pro dolly. And they're operating it like pros, afterwards. They're pushing it around and doing all the stuff they need to do. And that's just cool to see somebody get in there with real gear, real stuff.
That's 12, 13 years old. And it really is cool for them.
Gets them a leg up in the industry if that's where they decide to go.
If they do.
And so Kamp Hollywood is just one of your flagship things. There are so many other things. Tell us about some of the other things.
Well, we're doing weekend workshops. We've done those since about 2004.
Right.
And there's different ones. There's directing, which we just got through doing at MediaTech.
Right.
On your soundstage, and that was really, really very successful.
Yeah.
We try to keep the classes at about 12, and the workshops about 12.
Right.
Sometimes they go to 16. Halloween movie workshop.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, we had I think 15 or 16 this time in that one.
I'll never forget the year that we used to be at the mall, and we did a lock-in.
Valley View, the old Valley View mall, man.
We did a lock-in, and they did a sort of Dawn of the Dead kind of zombie thing in the mall.
And they were supposed to go to sleep, remember?
Right.
And they couldn't.
No.
Sorry, parents.
But they just filmed all night in this kind of creepy mall.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
And we got permission to be in some of the stores. We got permission from the mall, from Jan Sion, who used to run that, to go behind the scenes, behind the mall, in the creepy areas.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to do that. They've had some interesting experiences at Kamp Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we shot here at the Halloween Movie Workshop, and there's some really cool areas around this building to shoot,
That's true.
And we do go to different, AMS is one of our sponsors. We've shot some things there. We've done stunt workshops at AMS.
Right.
Yeah, we do martial arts and stunts too.
Yeah. How about that year you brought in somebody to show the students? Now, students didn't do this part, but show them how a fire stunt worked.
Oh, yeah. We brought in a professional guy, John Can.
Yeah.
At camp,
right?
And we set him on fire. And for those kids that wanted to roast marshmallows on them, they got to.
Yeah, it was that was a great photo moment too. Kids roasting marshmallows on.
Not your ordinary summer camp.
No, not exactly. Not your ordinary marshmallow roasting summer camp.
Yeah, and they have a lot of fun. And I encourage everybody to go to the Movie Institute's YouTube channel. And check out some of the movies. Some of them are great. Some of them aren't so great. All of them are entertaining.
Yeah.
Some of them are really funny too. There's some comedies in there.
Yeah.
And I think one Best Picture winner is Chroma, which was a really strange picture written by a 12-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy.
Right. Shot
by a 17-year-old woman who is now in film school.
Right.
And I'll put it up against a lot. UNT college films, that one. Right. Particular one called Chroma, because it's an art film.
Right, exactly.
What 12-year-old kid makes an art film, right? And they did, and they successfully did it. And you're in the inside on this. We don't make it for them.
Right.
Do we?
No, not at all. That's the point, is here are the tools, now go.
Yeah. For good or bad, it's their movie. We do sometimes try to save it in editing for them, but the director's there telling us, no, yes or no. And if he says, or she says no, it's a no. And we just cut it their way, whether it sucks or not. And because it's their movie, right? And they had the real independent film experience at Kamp Hollywood.
Right.
And then they get to make a commercial video, which is either a PSA or a TV commercial, which teaches them commercial video, which because you're a commercial video DP and director and producer, that's where a lot of the money is in North Texas, right?
Exactly. Sorry, it's in my throat.
He's allergic to me. That's what I did.
Well, tell us about, besides workshops, you've done smaller little workshop kind of things too.
Oh, flash frame classes?
Yeah, what are those?
Yeah, when we had the mall studio for 3 years, we were basically trying to see if a nonprofit movie studio for kids would actually work, because there's not anything like that in the country. I looked all over, there's nothing like it. So we did that. Right. And we found out, hey man, it does work.
Right.
So we had a thing every night. We had flash frame classes that were like about an hour and a half.
Sure.
Introduction to a certain subject writing, directing, whatever, you could see whether you were like up for that. And before you spend a lot of money at the college or the college to figure it out, you could spend $49.95 and from a professional figure out whether you were going to take that or not.
Yeah, was it something you were even interested in?
We're going to reintroduce those at 23 because we're expanding our headquarters.
Well, let's talk about the expansion because there's a lot of things work. Some things you can't talk about.
I can't yet.
But some things you can at least generically say where the future's going with this.
Okay, that's good. I like that. I can do that without getting into too much trouble.
Right.
We have a headquarters in Collin County in Plano.
Right.
And it's just been a headquarters with offices and a conference room.
Right.
But we're going to put 2 training rooms in 23.
Cool.
And we're going to be able to offer those flash frame classes at night and a lot of camps and workshops at that location, which is going to be really cool. But the other expansion we're doing is we're doing a thing based on what we learned at Valley View called Production and Training Community Centers, which are nonprofit professional film studios that have all the gear and have all the stuff you can rent out.
Yeah.
But they also train youth there and train entrepreneurship there. And we're going to put them in underserved areas.
That's cool.
And we're looking at an area in South Dallas.
Right.
We're looking at an area in Fort Worth to put each of these in. They're about 50 to 70,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say about them.
Sure.
And maybe on a later podcast.
Yeah.
I can come and announce that we did it.
Right, exactly.
We're in the negotiating phase on the first one.
Right.
In Dallas, and we're very excited about where it's going to go. It's going to go in a very vibrant, an old and new upcoming area.
Yeah.
And we're very excited.
Well, that leads us to where do people even find out about you and keep up with this news? I mean, we're on the web.
We're on Facebook.
Okay, of course. Yeah.
Strongly. We're sort of on Instagram.
Yeah.
None of us really do that very much. So
cool. Yeah. But also just Movie Institute.
But movieinstitute.org.
Right.
Since we're nonprofit, it's .org. .com will take you there.
Yeah.
But it's movieinstitute.org. And you can find out all about us on that website. And there's some cool pictures of testimonials.
Yeah.
And how you can become involved too.
Yeah.
You can donate money, of course, but there's other ways to become involved. On the board.
Volunteer.
Volunteer. We need mentors all the time that like kids and want to make movies.
Right.
So there's all kinds of ways to have fun with us helping these kids.
Right. And even like MediaTech here, even though the last couple of years Kamp Hollywood's been at
Frisco School of Music.
School of Music. The actual editing is done here.
It's done, yes.
And I'll kind of run that part of it a lot of times. And the kids will come here on that Saturday and maybe even into that Sunday if we have to, and use, because MediaTek has so many computers, with all the software on it, that they can make their films here.
And I want to say MediaTek has supported this thing since about 2009.
Yeah.
And never charged us a dime.
Right.
Just to be able to give back to the community.
Right.
And maybe introduce some kids to MediaTek.
We've had plenty of kids go to Kamp Hollywood and then come to the school later.
And then get jobs or open their own company up.
Right, yeah.
You know?
That brings up some success story type people.
Bender,
Yeah.
He has his own company now.
Right.
He came here.
Tell us some other success stories. You were talking about Matt Morgan. Can you tell us a little of that?
Dear old Matt.
Yeah.
So, Matt came to us at 12. He was a homeschool kid.
Right.
And... thank you.
They're going to secretly give us water so
it's
no
water.
one notices while
it's not gin or vodka.
It's not. Yeah.
Not the budget. Don't have the budget.
Oh, that's urine. No, that's good.
Urine where? I'm in the room. Where are you?
Oh, man. Okay. I had to get one bad joke in there.
Yeah. Matthew Morgan. Matt Morgan came to us, and he was 12.
Right.
And he went every year. Then he interned for us.
Yeah.
And then he tried to get into NYU Film School.
Yeah.
Well, I think at the time there were thousands of people trying to get in a few hundred slots.
Right.
And he's a middle-class guy from Mansfield.
Right.
It's tough for him.
Yeah.
Had a good reel, though, because he used all the stuff that he'd made at Kamp Hollywood.
Right, straight out of Mansfield.
Yeah, and at the the Halloween movie workshop. So we sent a letter to the dean of the film school at NYU. I called the dean and I said, "Does anybody you want in your film school this semester?" This guy. He was born with a camera in his hand.
Yeah.
Mom screamed a lot, but anyway, that's another bad joke. So, and he got in. Then he met his buds at NYU, and they opened a film company in Manhattan, called Yacht Club Productions.
They're still doing it, right?
Still going strong. And you know how hard it is to make it in Manhattan?
Right.
It's 10 years old now, this film company.
Yeah.
Luke Lashley's another guy.
Yeah.
Who went through the program and got us in trouble with his movie. That's okay. We back our filmmakers.
Right, right.
Over
Sometimes
our sponsors.
they may choose subject matters that some people
Our
think
sponsors.
are a little, testy or whatever. Like maybe there's a gun or something like that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we want them to write it and to come from their perspective.
Well, it's not exploitive.
Yeah.
If whatever is in it is part of the script and part of the story and has to be there, then we back our filmmakers.
Yeah.
And we lost a few sponsors over that one.
Right.
That's okay. But now Luke has had a very successful film company down in Austin.
Right.
So that's, and most kids go on. John Sandlin,
Right.
He's a very successful business guy, lives in South Lake, went through our program, didn't stay in the movie business, but he's one of the ones that told us that everything we taught him,
Right.
mentored in him, he uses in his business all the time.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to be able to get these kids and they call us back and say, hey, thanks a lot. And
Sure.
they donate and they keep pushing it forward for other kids.
And some have come back to help, even volunteer to help.
Volunteer.
on the
Jordan,
set.
your son.
My son,
He
absolutely.
was, little bitty when he started. Now he's one of our senior mentors.
Yeah, and he loved it, especially that Texas Rangers Day we did that.
Yeah,
time.
and
That was
he
really cool.
works out after school programs in Dallas and DISD often.
Yeah.
And we work at a lot of gang schools and a lot of underserved schools because that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids don't have the same advantages or the same family life
Right.
as some of the other kids, and so this really comes to help them.
I mean, it just happened at the director's workshop over the weekend where a kid walked into the studio and said, I've never been on a real studio before. He
Yeah.
was just like,
The
totally
giant green
amazed.
screen you guys have is
Right.
like, what?
Right. Now, I know
Yeah.
I think this podcast is around 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
yeah.
I'm not sure how many minutes we have left, but one of the things I wanted to ask about has to do with when they screen their movie at the theater on the Kamp Hollywood thing, they win awards. What's the philosophy of the camp when it comes to that? Does everybody get an
You're
award?
just trying to get me in trouble.
I am.
You're
But
just
does
trying to get me in trouble.
everybody get an award? And that's just like how
He's
it is
baiting
nowadays.
me, he is.
I am. But no, but there is a real value
Man.
to this. I
Yeah,
think,
that's true. We are a meritocracy at the Movie Institute.
Right.
And that we believe that kids get to try different things, going from camp to workshop
Sure.
to camp. And if they don't know they suck at something,
Right.
they won't know to go to something else,
Right.
right? We all learned what we do in the business was trying different things out in the business,
Right.
And, I'm not any good at that, or I don't like that,
Right.
right? So we want to give the kids the same opportunity.
Right.
So we're a meritocracy. Now at Kamp Hollywood, we give out awards
Right.
for best picture, best actor,
Right.
best cinematographer, best writer.
Right.
And those are voted on by people outside and independent of the Movie
Right.
Institute. We
Right.
bring in people from the Dallas International Film Festival, who, by the way, is our new sponsor.
Nice.
Woo! Happy. And, we bring in people from USA Film Festival. We bring in producers and directors in town who watch the movies. They don't know anything about the age of the kids that made the
Right,
movie.
right.
They don't know nothing about the movie. Instead, they just watch the picture and they vote on it. Just
They
like
have
you
an
would at the
argument
Oscars.
and then they vote on it.
They have a big argument. You usually,
I've
you
seen it.
run that for us,
Yeah,
and
I've
you've
seen
seen it. Yeah. And they sometimes they're knockdown dragouts, right?
Right.
And so, but that's who wins.
Right.
And then we have some, those are the merit awards. Then we have some awards that are teaching awards
Sure.
for kids that, improve the best. And that's voted on by the teachers.
By the staff, right.
But
yeah.
those are little certificates. The statuettes, by the way, which are not plastic, these are brass and walnut-based statuettes.
Yeah.
That you would get at any indie film festival
Yeah.
for winning. Because the kids worked hard that way. They worked 40 hours
Right.
to make that picture. So they win, they get a real trophy.
Right, and everybody who went to the camp will get a certificate saying
If they
went there,
graduate
of
the camp.
course.
Yeah, they get through it. Yeah.
But it's not that everybody wins an award. It's,
No.
it's
No participation awards.
Sometimes one movie sweeps every
It
award.
does.
Just like the Oscars. And
It does.
it's
It
how
happened
it is.
last year.
And there's people.
And there's people that are disgruntled about that. Why didn't you give them an award?
Right.
Well, because what are we trying to teach kids? We're trying to teach them function in society.
Right.
And who's going to give you an award if you don't do your job at work?
Right.
Who's going to give you an award at work?
Right.
Hell, you're lucky to even get a raise if you do
Right.
your job. So we're teaching these kids in a fun way
Right.
how to be prepared
Right.
and job ready and future ready,
Right.
so they can go out and wrestle the devil to the mat and make a good living doing what they like to do.
Right.
Well, you don't do that by giving participation awards.
Right. Right.
And we want all kids to be successful in their lives.
Yeah, and to feel like they've earned it.
And that's they feel like they earned it. And that's there's nothing better than earned accomplishment, and you know it.
Yeah.
When you've done a good job, and you get paid for it,
right,
or you earn something for it, a trophy for it, nothing feels like that.
Right.
And that's what these kids we do in these underserved schools have never experienced. That.
Right.
And they're experiencing earned accomplishment, which gives them hope and gives them strength.
Right.
To fight off gangs and fight off other bad influences, because no, I can do this. I don't need you.
Right.
I'm doing it myself.
I can go accomplish this myself.
Right.
And but enough of the tirade.
Yes, I'm
Let's
tirading.
just get back to the fact that it is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And if there's a speech you give the parents, you may want to give that now. If their kids are afflicted with this disease called
filmmaking. If you've got filmmaking,
right.
If you're a creative, if you're a writer, a director, a cinematographer, an actor, and you really are that,
right,
you're doomed. It's a mental disease, and there's no cure for it except going out and doing it.
Right.
So if you have a kid that has this disease, find an outlet for him. Because they're not going to be able to do anything else. Get it out of their system early.
Right.
Don't make them go to college and be an accountant and then later on figure that out. Let them get out of their system first, right? And when they still have time to be an accountant.
And it's kind of true. You've seen this. We've all seen this happen where you're actually saving the parents money in the long run. Because if someone keeps thinking they want to do something and they think the answer to that is buy me this camera, buy me this, buy me that, and you realize you've spent all this money, all these years, and to realize they don't even want to do it.
They stop doing it. They've lost interest.
But if they're thrown into a real situation, treated like a real film set, some people learn, I don't want to do this. They don't understand how hard filmmaking is.
They want to make it a hobby.
Right.
And they want to do it for a living. And that's kind of what we serve too. We've had lots of parents come up, shake our hands, and oh man, my kid didn't like this at all. Hey, there's no refunds. That's the first thing I say. And they go, no. This is a learning thing. This is what we wanted it for. Is that he kept saying, buy me this $5,000 Ursa, right?
Right.
And we're saying, well, we want to encourage you. We sent him to your camp. He saw all the work that goes into making a real movie.
Right.
He's sticking to his telephone and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It saved us $5,000. Thank you very much.
Right. And then there are those who go on like Matt.
And we help them get a reel built
in
the right colleges, help them find colleges like MediaTech. If they don't need to go to a 4-year to teach, they just want to get in the business. MediaTech's a great outlet for that.
Absolutely.
You're out quick, it's cheaper, and you get a job afterwards.
So we
like MediaTech.
Could talk about this all day.
Yep.
And it is time to wrap this up because the podcast is coming to its end. Remember, go to movieinstitute.org to check it out, or the Facebook page, Movie Institute, and MediaTech, of course. You'll see our logos all over our podcast, mediatech.edu. I'm Eric Jewell. This is Keith Duncan. And we're here signing off, but thank you for paying attention and listening to us and figuring out more about what Movie Institute is and what it has to offer.
And thank you, MediaTech, for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming along.
It, man.
All right. Till next time, we'll see you on the MediaTech.
Thanks to the crew.
That's right. See you on the MediaTech podcast next time, and I'll try to drink some water and not cough so much.